A puzzle box or LeMarchand box? Everything we know so far. For centuries, humanity has searched for the key to transcend the mortal realm, whether to reach heaven or descend into hell. Myths, religions, and occult lore all point toward one recurring idea: the cube. Whether it's the Hindu Yantra, the Rubik's cube, or Marvel's Tesseract, the cube has been a symbol of power and mystery. But nowhere does this symbolism turn darker than in the mythos of the LeMarchand box, an innocuous-looking puzzle that opens the gateway to an unspeakable realm of torment. What we commonly refer to as the LeMarchand box is, in reality, a collection of mechanical puzzles, each one designed with precision, intent, and malevolence. These cubes are not just puzzles, but keys, gateways to the realm of the Cenobites, beings that exist outside the conventional bounds of pain and pleasure. But to understand the full scope of this object's horror, we must start at the very beginning, before the first box was ever built. The origins of forbidden geometry. The seeds of the LeMarchand boxes were planted centuries before Philip LeMarchand ever began his work. The story begins with the 13th century philosopher and theologian Albertus Magnus. Known for his studies in alchemy and metaphysics, Magnus reportedly developed designs for intricate puzzle constructs, devices that, when opened, offered their solvers unknown wonders. Fast forward to the 18th century, when Philip LeMarchand, a French artisan, architect, and occult scholar, stumbled across these ancient designs. A man of immense talent and obsession, LeMarchand was both fascinated and disturbed by what he found. At first, he simply studied the arcane texts, many of which reference the so-called Cenobites, supernatural beings believed to exist beyond the veil of human perception. But eventually, study turned to action. To build a working prototype, LeMarchand needed to move beyond simple wood and steel. While attending a Freemason meeting around 1743, he was introduced to Frederick Braun, who handed him a book of secret geometry. This led LeMarchand to the works of Kunst, an artist of sacred architecture, astrology, and mathematical philosophy. Kunst had built puzzle constructs inspired by Albertus Magnus, each adorned with disturbing titles like Spiral of Desperation and Cenobites Welcome. The materials described were also unnatural. The boxes were made from a dark, polished substance that resembled lacquered wood but felt warm and metallic to the touch, something not of this world. LeMarchand became obsessed. He vowed to replicate and improve upon these designs, pushing the boundaries of craftsmanship and morality alike.
Is a holocaust waiting to wake itself.
The influence of occult literature. LeMarchand's work took a darker turn after meeting Geoffrey Chance, an English collector of rare, esoteric books. Among Chance's library were multiple volumes referencing the Cenobites, texts dating as far back as the 12th century. One book even mentioned the famed John Dee and his scryer, Barnabas Saul, who allegedly summoned the Cenobites and was shown divine secrets. LeMarchand also came across the tale of Livingston Merrick, a man who entered hell willingly after summoning these beings. There, Merrick encountered not flames, but an oppressive stone labyrinth ruled not by Satan, but by a massive geometric entity known as Leviathan. It emitted beams of black light and demanded strict obedience to the law of order. In exchange for his life, Merrick offered to deliver more souls. Armed with knowledge, vision, and obsession, Philip LeMarchand began creating the infamous puzzle boxes.
The great power the box held, the unspeakable things it would release.
The birth of the lament configuration. The first and most iconic of these constructs was the lament configuration, also known as the Box of Sorrows. With help from a Cenobite, known only as the Baron, LeMarchand completed this box as both a work of art and a ritual object. It was no mere trinket. It was a trap, a summoning device, and a test of one's darkest desires. The box had to be solved by intent, not accident. It required a kind of spiritual resonance between the solver and the cube, a need, a longing, a brokenness. And once solved, the box would open a gateway, not to paradise, but to the realm of the Cenobites. LeMarchand's deadly legacy. What followed was a reign of terror disguised as a golden age of craftsmanship. LeMarchand crafted at least 270 puzzle boxes, each unique, each deadly. These boxes rapidly circulated throughout Europe, often finding homes with aristocrats, occultists, and curiosity seekers. But the boxes didn't stay long with any one owner. People vanished. Entire families disappeared. Whispers of scandal and horror spread across Paris. Investigators began to draw a line between LeMarchand's boxes and a growing list of unexplained disappearances. Eventually, LeMarchand fled to America, but the killings followed. By the time he was 88, he had moved beyond puzzle boxes. He began designing entire buildings that were puzzles, architectural traps meant to summon or contain otherworldly beings. His final years are a mystery. LeMarchand disappeared at the age of 94. Some say he became a victim of his own designs. Others believe he was taken by the Cenobites he once worshipped. Known puzzle box configurations. While the Lament configuration is the most famous of LeMarchand's works, several other boxes have been catalogued by scholars and occultists. The Triumph of Judas, LeMarchand's ninth creation, inspired by Da Vinci's Last Supper and deeply connected to betrayal. It is believed that 37 people died by the time he completed this construct. A Love's Easy Tears, his 10th box, designed after the bone structure of a woman named Anna who had rejected LeMarchand's marriage proposal. After her refusal, he offered her to the Cenobites. The box is said to induce deep emotional despair in anyone who attempts to solve it. The Hollow Heart, his 14th design, based on the street layout of New York City. 96 victims are attributed to it. Each box was more than an object. They were rituals carved into wood and metal. No two were the same. Each answered to a different soul, a different sin. Other boxes and their mythology. The Hellraiser franchise has expanded the mythology of the puzzle boxes, introducing several additional variations and suggesting that LeMarchand's designs may have been used or corrupted by others. In Hellraiser 2, we learn that Dr. Philip Channard possessed a collection of puzzle boxes, hinting at a widespread network of these artifacts. Well, according to Hellraiser Bloodline, some boxes may have been created by the demon princess Angelique, which opens the door to the possibility of demonic authorship. In Hellworld, boxes are collected by a character simply known as the host and treated as trophies. But the mythology doesn't stop with wooden cubes. In Hellraiser Bloodline, we see the Elysium configuration, a massive puzzle box disguised as a space station called Minos, built by Paul Merchant, LeMarchand's descendant. This final box is designed not to summon Cenobites, but to trap or destroy them through the manipulation of light and geometry. Earlier, in Hellraiser 3, another descendant, John Merchant, builds a skyscraper modeled after LeMarchand's original designs. This structure, too, can be transformed into a giant summoning device. The legacy of the box has evolved into modern architecture and possibly beyond. The other side of the puzzle. One fascinating idea introduced in Clive Barker's novella The Hellbound Heart is that just as there are boxes that open pathways to hell, there may also be puzzle boxes that open doorways to paradise. This is a concept barely explored, but it introduces a glimmer of hope that not all the puzzles are rooted in suffering. That maybe, somewhere, there exists a configuration that offers peace instead of torment. But no one's ever found that one. Or, if they did, they never came back to tell the tale. Final thoughts. The LeMarchand boxes are more than cursed objects or horror movie props. They are a mythology of desire, suffering, and the human compulsion to know, to seek forbidden truths no matter the cost. Whether they lead to ecstasy or agony is irrelevant to those who pursue them. The box does not judge. It only opens. And once you open it, you are no longer just a person. You're a participant in something older, darker, and infinitely more structured than anything you've ever imagined. The question is, if you ever found one of LeMarchand's boxes, would you dare to solve it?